Good evening. Welcome to District 5 Advisory Board. My name is Brian Fry, I'm the City Council person for District 5, and I welcome you to tonight's presentation and meeting. I do not run the meetings. I turn that over to my pro tem, J.B. Johnson, and he will run the meeting tonight. The advisory board helps me with the decisions, so they will be making votes on the agenda items tonight and help me in my decision making as a council member. It's a little warm in here. Hopefully it's just no mechanical problems, and it's just because we have a full house.
If it was a mechanical problem, we had a guy come out at 4 o'clock. We didn't realize it was working until 4 o'clock.
Okay. Well, you guys are used to it.
Yes, we are. That's why we didn't realize it until 4 o'clock.
So, yeah, we're not cutting budgets, it's just a mechanical issue. So again, thank you for being here. With that, I'm going to turn it over to JB. As a reminder, we are on Facebook Live tonight's meeting, so any speakers will need to come up here and use the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. With that, we'll call our meeting to order. I have a motion to approve the agenda for today, July 1st. So moved. By motion, second to approve. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carries. We need to approve the minutes for the last 2 meetings, for June 3rd and May 6th. So, any changes or deletions to the minutes? Any motion? Is there a second? Still second. Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Any off agenda items for anybody on the board? No. Anybody in the audience have any off agenda items? None, we'll move on. Thank you. Updates from Councilman Brian.
Okay, so just a couple of quick items. One, you've heard about them, scooters. They're coming. Tomorrow we have 2 companies that have presented lease agreements for electric scooters. These will be allowed to operate in downtown core area on city roadways, not on sidewalks. They have to obey all traffic lights and all traffic laws and ordinances. They will shut down at dusk or 9 p.m., whichever happens first. The city does make revenue off of the rental of these scooters, and it is a pilot program. If after the end of a year, we don't like the way it's been operating, we can change it, we can terminate it. We have seen some cities across the country terminate their programs or make significant adjustments. It really just depends on how well our citizens behave with them. But just like bike shares, just like trolleys, just like ride shares, Uber and Lyft, this is another way to make that last mile from transportation. And so we're willing to try it, and we've got 2 companies that have demonstrated great success in cities across the country. So we're feeling pretty good about it. You may have also heard that we recently won All America City Award. This was last weekend in Denver. It's put on by the National Civic Foundation. The last time Wichita won it was in 2009, so it's been a few years. This is the 5th time we've won it, and it was really based on multiple items. It wasn't any one single thing that got us the award. It's civic engagement, it's relations with our police department, it's health and wellness of our community. Just a lot of different things is what led to us winning the award. So it's a great thing for us to be able to claim that mantle of all Americans. We know it, Wichitans know it, now the rest of the world is. So pretty cool. A couple of traffic things I've been working on. 37th and Tyler right now is a 4-way stop sign. It's by the Mays South complex. It's an interesting intersection in that there are 4 jurisdictions that have control of that intersection between the city of Mays, the city of Wichita, Sedgwick County, obviously, and then the Mays School District having an interest in it. So we're trying to figure out a way that maybe all of us can come together and help pay for a light to be put in at that intersection. Traffic counts there are getting higher and higher, and many schools are wanting to add a 5th and 6th grade intermediate school on their grounds to start construction next spring. So no, it's just going to continue to increase and get more in demand. So trying to figure out a way to get that funded and installed. Along those same lines, we had a very tragic accident a couple weekends ago at 34th and Ridge Road. Car turned into oncoming traffic and a woman was killed. Ridge Road has not had the traffic numbers yet to justify a light at that intersection. There are federal standards that you have to get to get a light. I've been working on it even before I was on city council, trying to get a light at that intersection. Because I've seen the increase. One of the things that we're looking at doing immediately is lowering the speed limit. It's 45 through there now. If we can lower it to 40, that might help. I don't know that a light would have prevented the accident. We still have to do work to get the numbers there. We're researching the crash data we have and seeing what the trend is. Immediately, though, hopefully that lower speed limit could help. But we're going to continue to work on that. We're also working on planning for a possible sidewalk on 37th between Ridge Road and Ridgeport North. We have about 1,500 families in that area that use that because of St. Catherine's School, the Mays School District as well, and they don't have a connection to the sidewalk at 37th Ridge that gets into the schools. So we don't have the funding yet this year. Hopefully we can get it in 2020. And then I'll let Steve, I believe, is here to talk about some other traffic things and road projects. But that's really the quick update I had for you guys tonight.
The budgets results separate packets and we're going to talk about that.
Okay. So we've been doing a new exercise for the last several weeks. It's a budget simulator. Is anyone aware of that? Has anyone done it? Okay. Well, I know you probably have, but of course. So this is a new electronic device, an exercise that you can go in and adjust your individual property tax bill based on services and that the city provides now, or could increase or decrease. And you can adjust your tax bill and see how it would affect if you added more police officers or increased library operators, hours, or decreased some services, and how it would adjust your tax bill. We had over 1,400 people fill it out. Is that right, Corey? So it's a new exercise for us this year. We have all the results, and it really continued to reiterate what we believe citizens are already telling us. More and better police and fire protection, more emphasis on roads and street maintenance. What else was the top one, Corey? It was the top two, I believe.
Park maintenance, made number 10.
That's right, park maintenance, thank you, of course, the park guy in the back of the room, obviously. I think transit was up there too, wasn't it? So transit was in the top 10. Better longer operating hours, weekends possibly. So this was something new that we tried. It's a tool that helps us as we go through the budget process. It's also interesting as there was opportunity for people to fill out comments and some open-ended answers, and those are very revealing as well. As a former TV research guy, I always loved the open-ended comments, because that's where you really get people's thoughts and opinions. And so we're going to be getting through that and finding keywords and seeing if it matches up with the numbers. I'm sure it will. And again, this is something that we tried this year. It's been very revealing. I think the majority of the people that filled it out were fine with a small tax increase if it made for better services. Again, is that what we're going to do? It's too soon to tell. We have been doing things without raising taxes, but again, this kind of helps us determine if the mood is right for it. But the window for filling out is finished now, correct? So, but again, it's something that we try and we can improve upon it, and we'll see it again in future years, I think. So, anything else on this, Corey? Any questions for me? Awesome. Well, again, thank you for being here and meeting at church meeting.
Brian, thank you. We will start with staff reports and start with the fire department. See, I know where it was. We were working on it. We appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Matt Schulte, Lieutenant of Wichita Fire Department, working at Station 21 here today. Report since the last meeting, there's been 281 incidents in District 5. 254 of those were medical calls. 25 of those were service calls. And of course, as you know, we've had 2 apartment fires here. I actually had another one today. And both of those apartment fires were over at Central and Ridge Road. One at 999 North Silver Springs and one at 8405 West Central. The first one, we got stopped really quick. We only had $35,000 of damage, but it was careless smoking. People smoking on their decks and leaving their cigarette butts out there. The second one caused $140,000. It was really going by the time we got there, but there again, they were smoking on the deck and left it out there. As the temperature goes up and everything dries out, that's cigarette just smolders. You think you put it out. We always say get yourself a metal can and some sand if you're going to smoke. Put them in there. It keeps it from spreading, causing somebody else to lose their stuff and causing further damage because we go in and spray water. If you're in the upstairs apartment, the water goes down, so we cause more damage in other people's apartments. So, and of course, it's fireworks season, and yes, we will be out patrolling. We will have 10 units out on the 3rd and the 4th doing firework patrols from 7 p.m. to 2 in the morning. They will be issuing citations, and that, in fact, we have to go out tonight and patrol until midnight, certain map pages. So you'll see the fire trucks out in the neighborhoods. So, you know, our advice is shoot them where you buy them. That means they're legal wherever you buy them. But if you buy them outside the city of Wichita, don't shoot them here. The fines are pretty hefty, so we want everybody to be safe. And like I said, if you do shoot things, it's good to have a bucket of water around so that you can throw those things in. Please don't put them in the trash can and put it next to your house. Trash cans are plastic, and everything in there will burn. So if you do throw in the trash can, move the trash can away from your house. Set it out in the street corner. That way, if it burns, that's the one thing you lose. And that's all I have for tonight. If you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Move right to the police. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Lori Vaughn. I'm an ITV coordinator. It's been a while since I've been here. The thing that we're seeing now, of course, in summer and school out is increasing vandalism, people stealing garden gnomes, furniture on the front porches. We've also been getting a lot of reports of vandalism to homeowner association who a lot of it is their own residents. So we can't really trespass for that kind of thing because they pay the dues, so technically they own the pool. So it's obviously a curfew law, so if it's after midnight, we can do something about it if they're under 18. However, if they are residents of that homeowner association, we can't trespass. Also, we're getting a lot of phone calls about people fishing in homeowner association lakes, and again, it's people that live there, so we can't really address that either. So we can't trespass people that are fishing on their property, even if it's late at night, especially if it's adults. So we're seeing a lot of that going on lately. We do have had an increase of vehicle thefts. I don't really know what's causing it, other than they're stealing stuff out of cars too. Obviously, the credit cards are going around spending all the credit cards. We're making some arrests, but not as many as we'd like to. But that's the major thing we're seeing right now. Any questions?
Are you going to fire?
No, I will be off because they don't want to work that day.
But we do have the crews that are going out, it's staff veterans board, right, but it's a combination of police and fire.
Yes, sir.
2 places, 1 fire, 2 fire, 1 police, I don't remember which.
It's one, maybe 2 police and 1 fire.
Yeah, we had a couple of incidents last year that were documented.
We had a few fires that got assaulted by the police officers last year.
The lady with the Roman candle, the head, right?
Alcohol, beer.
Yeah.
Fireworks, what can go wrong?
Well, when you think somebody's $1,000 with fire with the upset, so.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Next, Dave, Parks and Recreation.
So thank you, yes, David McGuire with Park and Recreation. It seems like I was just here, this last month has gone by. And we've been dealing with a lot of river issues. The river's finally starting to calm down, it's getting back in its banks. We've cleaned up after it about 3 times in the last month and a half and so forth. So the river is calming down. However, it's still affecting a lot of our recreation programs we have planned. We have floats, these paddle boat floats, you stand on the paddle boat and float down the river. We had one of those planned every Saturday for the month of June, and we haven't got to do any of them. So we moved that activity down to Watson Park. So if you're still interested in some kind of water activity, kayaking or paddle boating or whatever, we're doing it down at Watson Park. And maybe here in about another week, the river will calm down and we can get back to doing those because they're wildly popular. We have multiple events planned and they're all full. All the registration is full, so the river is calming down. We also have been dealing with a lot of tree issues with the storms and so forth. We're catching up on that. So if you have a broken or hanging branch and a street tree, please call us. We'll get out there and try to deal with that. Now, there hasn't been a citywide declaration of a disaster, so we're not coming around picking up branches, but we will deal with broken branches and that kind of thing that are blocking sidewalks or that are blocking streets and that kind of thing. So, but we're catching up on that as well. Some of the recreation activities we got going, I don't know. The park department got a mascot here a while back. It's called Barry the Bison, but then the fire department and the police department got in the act, and so we now have what we call the city crew, and we have 3 mascots, and kids can sign up and become part of the city crew, and every month or about every 2 weeks, we have some kind of a party somewhere for kids. Well, the one for this side of town is coming up here on July 2nd at Harvest Pool. All 3 mascots will be there. If your kids, grandkids, or whatever wants to come over and become part of the city crew, we can sign them up. They get monthly emails from the crew and all kinds of stuff. So it's kind of fun. A lot of kids, I think we have like 600 members in our city crew. So that's kind of fun. So coming up July 20th over to Harvest Pool. We also have Auburn's pretty close out here. We got the Couples Classic coming July 13th. If any of you have kids that are under the age of 17, they can play golf for free this year. It's sponsored by the First Tee Greater Wichita, which is a pretty cool thing. If kids like to play golf, you can play golf for free. We have several glow tours down at Watson Park that I was just talking about. Touch a Truck, Brian was helped us get Touch a Truck going. We now have our own Touch a Truck for kids down at Watson Park. That'll be coming up here July 13th. So one thing about libraries and parks and recreation, we always have an event for everybody. There is something going on. So if you're bored and want to get hooked up, find our Parks and Recreation magazine or the Libraries magazine, and we've got something cool going on. So I'll stand for any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Good. Next, we have Ever Shy. Tracy Clark.
I'm Tracy Partridge. I am the manager of the Westlake Branch Library. And I'm just going to let you know a few things that are happening at the library. The first that we want to tell you is that we are going to be closed on Thursday, July 4th. So do not come to the library expecting fabulous programs and computer use. That is not going to happen. Another thing I want to let you know is that during the summer, all branch locations are actually closed on Sundays. However, our advanced learning library downtown, they are actually open on Sundays. So if you are desperately needing a book to read or a movie to watch or to use a computer on a Sunday, go to our advanced learning library right across from Exploration Place. One cool thing that happened this month is actually on June 24th, the advanced learning library got Chromebooks that they're actually able to check out to customers. And that's via a portable device dispenser. The Chromebooks are checked out to people with a Wichita Public Library card of good standing for 3 hours, and they have to be used on the premises. But that is actually something that's really exciting. It's not something that we have had before. It allows customers to use our devices anywhere that they are comfortable within the physical facility. And that was funded as a part of a gift from Google. It's called Grow with Google. So we've got that. Another thing that I wanted to mention, and I've talked about it for 2 months, but it is so important, I must say it again. We are still registering for our reading incentive programs for kids. So if you have anyone in your family or a neighbor, birth through age 17, we actually have 3 reading incentive programs for kids. To date, we have 10,000 children and teens signed up for our reading incentive programs. At the Westlake Branch Library alone, we have 2,600. So it's a really, I should say, they're really popular programs that can help kids maintain their reading skills over the summer. And another thing I wanted to mention, because I know that we have 2 more members with children that qualify. Birth through age 5, we have story times that we do weekly. We are actually concluding our summer session the week of July 15th, but never fear, we are going to start again in September, and we hope to see your kids then. Okay. And then just a few programs that I wanted to highlight. On Wednesday, July 10th at our Advanced Learning Library, we're going to have Opera Kansas to a program called Songs to the Moon. It's in honor of the 50th anniversary of the Apollo landing. So that's incredibly exciting. They're going to have classical music, but then also more current music, and then have some trivia about the moon, etc. Another program that I wanted to mention is called Modern Pop Art Experience. It's actually for ages 9 to 17 and their parents, and it is so cool, and I wish that I had a child who was 9 to 17 or that they allowed adults to do it by themselves, but they do not. But we're going to have this pop artist author, his name is Michael Albert, and he makes collages out of like boxes, cereal boxes and cookie boxes and cracker boxes and things like that. And he's going to take teens through that process. He has actually taken this program to over 1,000 places within the United States and actually internationally. It is going to be the only time that it occurs in Kansas this summer. And Wichita Library is going to be the only library that has that. That's going to happen Saturday, July 13th at 2:30 at the Alpha Branch. If you have somebody between 9 to 13, they must do it. It's going to be awesome. And then the final thing that I wanted to mention is a fall gardening series that we're doing. And that actually starts July 30th at our Alfred Library. And it is on Tuesdays at 6 at the Alfred Branch Library. And then it repeats on Thursdays at 6 at the Westlake Branch Library. And we'll be covering topics like Kansas grasses, attracting beneficial insects, soil, xeriscaping, and lawn care, just to name a few. Now, last month I actually counted how many programs we were doing, and this month I was entirely too tired to count how many programs we were doing in July. But there are a lot, and I only mentioned a few. And so what I would encourage you to do is go to our website, thewichitalibrary.org, the events section, and you will see everything that we are doing everywhere. And I did bring a few of these just in case. Okay, does anybody have any questions? No, I expect to see you at the library. I see a lot of you already at the library, which makes me incredibly happy. But I would love to see more. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Have a motion to receive and file all staff. One more. Oh, yes. Sorry about that.
Been a while since I've been here too.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Steve Dagenhart. I'm the construction manager with Public Works Engineering. I'm going to cover some projects that are currently under construction or soon to be, and then some others that we have working on the design side. Still working on our 2018 pavement preservation program. We've got a microsurface that's going to be placed on 13th Street from 119th Street to Mays Road. We expect that to happen here in July. And then in the 2019 program, we've got a few major streets on Central from Mays Road to 1/2 mile west of Mays Road. There'll be some pavement repairs to begin this fall with an asphalt overlay to occur next spring, 2020. As well on Tyler Road from Maple up to 2nd Street, where we just finished the second Tyler intersection. That asphalt overlay and pavement repairs are going to be similar to the 3 miles of 21st Street that were done over the last few years. Here later this month, we're going to begin a preservative seal on 21st Street from Mays Road to Hoover, and that's going to be a much faster process than what's been experienced out there the last couple of years. This is a process that will really preserve the integrity of that surface asphalt that was placed, make it last a lot longer, and protect our investment. So I would expect probably only a few days to complete that work altogether, so it should go much faster than the other repairs. The project's under design right now. Sidewalk on Ridge Road from 29th Street up to the Cloister Addition, we expect to be under construction probably by late August. The Hoover bike path from Sedgwick County Zoo up to 29th Street, kind of looking at a spring 2020 construction right now, including a traffic signal at Zoo Boulevard in Hoover. 13th Street from the Kowski out to 135th Street West, probably projecting a late summer or this fall to begin construction pending property acquisition. 29th and Mays intersection, right now the proposed CIP may include some funding in 2020 to expedite some work at that intersection for the northbound turn movements as well as the westbound left turn movement. And that covers all the engineering projects. So, questions?
If I could just add on that last one that Steve mentioned, we originally thought we were going to redesign that entire intersection of 29th and Mays, but their study has shown that we don't need to rebuild the entire intersection. We can address the northbound to eastbound right turn lane and the westbound and southbound left turn lane. We can do that now for a lot less money and take care of most of the issue, we believe, and save having to rebuild that intersection years later. By doing that, we can move this schedule up and hopefully to next spring. That's where we've got it budgeted the CIP right now. We've not approved the CIP, but if everything goes according to plan, we might be able to get that done next spring, which would solve a lot of headaches there at that intersection, especially as we're seeing more construction take place. The Hobby Lobby is under construction right now. Cadillac Lake has all of that first phase parking in, so they can start to add more tenants. And so it's just going to continue to get more traffic. Those two turn movements, we think we can solve right away and do it for a lot less money. So that's the plan.
Any questions for Steve? Okay, thank you. Now, we'll ask for some to follow up. Second. Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we'll go to Philip. So,
Good evening, my name is Philip Zingenberger, I'm an associate planner with the Metro Area Planning Department. Tonight I've got a CUP amendment as well as a rezone for the Sancha Commercial Edition. That's just the addition that includes kind of medical offices along Ridge Road, one that rehab center, I'm not sure what's going on with that right now, and then over to the developed land, kind of north and to the east of that rehab center, south of K96. The amendment to the CUP just includes moving 4.32 acres out of the commercial edition and allowing that land to be developed for the second edition to the housing for Sancha on south of it. And with that, they need to rezone it from limited commercial to single-family SF5 for single-family homes to be built. That's about the gist of it. And I can see if there are any questions.
It's still vacant.
Sorry?
The commercial side is still vacant.
There are still vacant parcels.
I'm talking the building that they built.
The rehab, I don't know.
It's occupied.
By what it's.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's public resort healthcare, and so it's kind of the, after you get your medical procedures, you go there to get rehab. It's designed for a short stay, kind of like a hospital with medical kind of thing.
Those are nice buildings.
So yeah, no, it's occupied, and they've got people working and staying.
And the rest of the commercial edition still has vacant parcels, it's still being developed. I believe that this was platted kind of in tandem with the Sancha housing edition, and as things have moved forward and developments changed over the years, they realized that they wanted more of the land to be used for the housing edition and rework those things along with the commercial edition. I don't have any details of what's going on for development, it's kind of not our role, but that's the case here tonight.
Questions? Any from the audience? Any motion?
I make motion that they approve. Yes.
Motion, and second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Philip. Now, for the draft release ordinance proposed. Floor is yours.
It's super hot here. It's really bad.
Let's go.
Do you have a clicker or do I have to?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, clicker. I'll be the clicker.
Perfect.
Lauren.
Is it the arrow? You ready? Is it the arrow?
Should just be this.
Okay. Man, you guys is just with your virus right out the chat. You don't have a clicker, you don't have air conditioning.
You're telling us.
Yeah, it happens. I'll make it
That's
this
why
way.
the meetings go quicker.
Can you guys all, yeah, can you all hear me without the microphone?
No, we need it for Facebook Live.
Okay. All right, so my name is Stephanie McCurdy, and I am now the past chair of the Wichita Animal Services Advisory Board. And a few months ago, our board came forward with an ordinance to address TNR, which is trap litter release. And next slide. So I made this little presentation so everyone would understand truly what trap litter release is and what it can provide for this community. So trap litter release is a method of reducing outdoor cat populations by capturing them, providing them with spay and neuter services, and returning them to their original environment. TNR creates an opportunity to help protect people and animals while reducing conflicts with cats and humans, as well as cats and other animals. So a community-wide TNR program, they're effective because they halt the reproduction of existing cats through sterilization, leading to the ability to manage a cat colony together, the reduction of the cat colony essentially, and then the elimination of the colony altogether. So it also decreases the nuisance complaints by eliminating and dramatically reducing noise from cat fighting, mating, odor from unaltered males that use spraying to mark their territory. It also is a way to ease the burden on community resources, such as the shelters that are flooded with cats and their offspring. And currently, right now, in the Wichita Animal Shelter, they are almost at capacity. It is kitten season, and so there are a lot of cats that are currently in the facility. So it's very difficult where we're still picking up cats and they're not all making it out. So in some instances, this creates an immediate reduction because kittens that are young enough to be socialized can be routed to an adoption process. And then depending on the shelter's availability and the rescue resources, they can go out to actually be adopted and have a home. Also, friendly adult cats are evaluated for potential reunification with their lost owners, and then also transition to the home of caretakers and rehoming that animal as well. So it's not, we're not just talking about adult cats or young cats, we're talking about cats as a whole that are in the community. Okay, so the steps of a TNR program. This is a nice little graphic that we've got. So cats are trapped or captured in their environment. They're transported to a clinic. The cats undergo surgery and their ears are notched for identification purposes. The cats are given a few days to recover, and then the cats are returned back to their environment. So this eliminates the behaviors that I talked about earlier, and it also helps stabilize the cat population as well as sterilize any eventual reduction of the poverty. Next, please. Excellent. So in 2017, the Wichita Animal Services Board put out a survey, and about 20% of respondents felt that feral cats were a nuisance in their neighborhoods. 64% of the respondents felt that the city should take an active role in assisting neighborhoods with this issue. And then about 48% felt that the most pressing issue for animal control was to reduce the euthanasia rate at the shelter. We did have a TNR committee that put together a proposed ordinance, and they presented that to the Animal Advisory Board in April of 2018. And then the draft ordinance, we met actually every month until December, whenever eventually a final draft was put forward and sent to City Council and to the Wichita Police Department. Yes?
How many people were in this study or took this survey? You know?
Two. Give me a second.
Only about 800. Oh.
I'll come back to you because I have multiple
He said
studies.
about 800.
I'm just not sure if that's accurate.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that we get you the right information. So the consensus on this draft ordinance was not easy. It did pass our board. It did not pass unanimously. There was a difference between one vote. And then, next slide. So the city of Wichita recognizes the need for innovation in addressing the issues presented by feral free-roaming cats, which is what we're talking about today. To that end, it recognizes that Trap Neuter Return, the TNR program, is a viable option to manage the population of kitty cats, thus reducing the number of cats entering the shelter system and being euthanized. The program relies on volunteer caregivers to trap free-roaming cats to be spayed, neutered, and vaccinated, and then for rabies, and then they also ear tip them and then return them to the location where the cats were originally trapped, with that property's owner's permission, or to an alternate location. So just to give you, the next slide. Okay, there we go. Really good. So not only do we address the overpopulation of cats, but we're also in turn addressing the euthanasia rate of the shelter. So just to give you some statistics about the shelter, just the deal with cats. In 2013, we euthanized 2,961 cats. 2014, we euthanized 2,353 cats. 2015, we euthanized 2,118 cats. In 2016, we euthanized 1,630. 2017, 1,227. And in 2018, we only euthanized 920 cats. Now, the organization that we're talking about that we're able to partner with to provide the TNR services, so there's no cost to the city, is an organization that there's some of the members are here today. They started really getting aggressive about TNR colonies in 2015, and they TNR'd 662 cats. And then in 2016, they did 906 cats. And then 2017, they did 908 cats. And then last year, they did 1,017 cats. So it continues to grow to be able to continue to provide the TNR services. So on an average, WASP keeps animals 12 days, dogs and cats. So 3 days is state law that they must stay, so an owner can potentially reclaim the animal if it does have an owner. And then it costs the Wichita Animal Services about $20 to $25 per day to keep an animal. So if you add that over a period of time, it's a substantial amount of money. Where if we continue the TNR with an ordinance and allow them to continue on this program, it would reduce the cost for the shelters. So it costs about $10 to spay and neuter, ear tip, and rabies vaccinate one cat. So that's a substantial savings. So, next please. So we did talk about the mandation of registration of cat colonies that are currently happening, as well as annual reporting requirements, and then animal services would still be able to enforce any type of nuisance complaints that come in, or any type of violations that a caretaker may have. So the next thing that we need is the benefit for the benefit of the ordinance is the community buy-in. It creates other funding sources. Also, cat-related intake and euthanasia activities cost more than $1 billion annually. So we would be helping to reduce that $1 billion annually by TNRing cats. Right now, we're kind of doing just a half approach to this having very little impact on the welfare and the environment and the public health issues that arise from TNR or from cat colonies. And these large-scale sterilization programs depend on volunteers' support as well. It's non-lethal management that is readily supported by a lot of people in our community, while lethal control doesn't seem to get the same support just by euthanizing them. So that's why a lot of people are just opposed to just euthanizing the animals after their mandated stay. Without TNR, it continues to stress the shelters, it overwhelms their resources and far exceeds their capacity. It also gives false expectations to citizens that are there coming to the animal shelter and bringing an animal that it will resolve the problem. So you all have received, I believe, prior to being here, you guys received a copy of the draft ordinance that came through, and I'll see if there are any questions you may have. Wichita Animal Services, which is a subsidiary of the Wichita Police Department. Oh, she asked who enforces TNR, so it would be the ordinance and then through the Wichita Police Department, which is the city of Wichita.
What's the timeline for checking for the colonies?
Sorry.
The colonies of the cats, when's the time frame that you're expecting them to stop?
So they decrease. So he asked what is the expectation of when the colonies will decrease. There's really not a lot of really good viable studies out there. We do know of Oklahoma City who did this in 2 years, and their intake went down over 50%. And we met with that, she's from OK Humane, it's the only shelter in the area, and she said it was drastic improvement for them just in 2 years. I think everyone's just too hot to.
Any questions from the audience?
Stephanie,
Yes.
if there's any opposition to this plan, what is it? Is there any contentiousness about?
Oh, yeah.
What's
So Lori gets to be my escort tonight. So, and Lori is here for my protection actually. So yes, has been a lot of opposition.
well, how would you qualify it? If, like, what's the primary pushback to this?
So there's a lot of people that'll tell you that just getting one rabies vaccine is not going to cover them through. They're probably correct. But we would assume that one rabies vaccine is better than none ever. Now, I looked at the rabies protocol for the state of Kansas, and I actually have the bite report for Sedgwick County. And we haven't had a confirmed rabies case from a cat in Sedgwick County since 1940. Yes. Yes, please do. It's okay, I'm speaking positive. I know you're right. We're good.
So, and can you give us your name and address? You have up to 5 minutes.
My name and address?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Kelly Jones. I'm with the Cat Hospital of Wichita, 6130 East Central. And I want to speak to the rabies thing. I have actual statistics from the state of Kansas rabies lab. The state of Kansas actually has to do statistics reporting rabies. And I have actual statistics for the last 6 years reporting rabies. In 2013, 374 cats were tested, 2 were positive. In 2014, 391 were tested, 7 were positive. This is for the entire state. In 2015, 370 were tested, 11 were positive. In 2016, 369 were tested, 5 were positive. In 2017, 324 were tested, 3 were positive. In 2018, 317 were tested, 0 were positive. And just as a note, there were more horses that tested positive than cats, which I think is a bit curious that we're on cats cases, but we ignored horses. Also, the CDC reports 1 to 3 cases per year in the whole United States, human cases. So it's pretty low incidence. I'm not saying that if I got rabies, I would disregard it, but it's a pretty low incidence in humans. Okay.
Any other questions? Let me go down to comments. So, I'll tell you what, let's start row 1. And we'll go front to back.
We have a few comments, but
Oh, you have better.
you don't have to say it. We might, don't go far.
So, as Brian said, you get 5 minutes. Please, if you have prepared me, don't repeat something somebody just said. You just heard it. So, if you do that, please. And state your name and address. So, row 1.
My name is Bill Langley. We live at 944 North Crestline in this district. I'm opposed to the ordinance. There are some confusion here about what's going on. People want to save feral cats from being euthanized. That's one issue. The other is brought up here in the 70s as a different control of feral cat population by TNR. She cited a source that within 2 years we saw 50% decline. Some referee science journals that have extended studies over 10 years on large areas, they have not found that to be true. Most of them reject that process. We have come to the meetings and advocated this science part to it and have been ignored. I want to kind of illustrate, and other people here can speak to other issues, the magnitude of this problem. Okay? How many feral cats we have in Wichita, we don't even know. But from going into the literature, I found an estimate in the U.S. between 148 to 188 million cats in the U.S. So I used some rounding here to see what we had. Assume there are 250,000 people in Wichita. Let's assume that basically there's 350 million people in the U.S. That ratio. Kansas would have approximately, or Wichita would have approximately 105 to 134,000 feral cats. Take the lower number, 105. Okay. Dr. Foley from the American Veterinary Association and colleagues have estimated that within a year, 70% of the female cats would have to be neutered, maybe to cause the population to decrease or stabilize in that part. Well, we assume that only 10% of the cats in Wichita are feral. That's approximately 105,000 in the ballpark that most people are estimating in here. Then if we assume in this process that half of the cats we talk about are just female cats out of that process, and only 10% of it, and then 70% have to be sterilized, it would require our TNR people to trap and sterilize 3,675 cats in 1 year. That's the females. That's not the females and males. And if we assume basically that each of these community colonies would have 8 cats in them, and we go through there and add both the males and the females back, there'd be 919 cat communities in Wichita that are community cats, not owned by anybody, just being fed sporadically, and most likely in your neighborhood. This is just not a good proposal. We're not saying that something shouldn't be done, but TNR is not the solution. And saving cats for euthanasia, that's a great idea, but dropping them back out if they're feral cats is not the solution.
Thank you, Bill. Any rest of 101? Proceed. Yes. 3.
You want me to come up there?
Yes, please.
Okay.
You're on Facebook Live. Renee Maddox.
Some of you probably know me. My name is Marilyn Overton. I'm with the District 1. My address is 2331 North Lorraine. I'm allergic to cats. I started because I got involved with cats. I'm president of the Neighborhood Association, the Matlock Neighborhood Association. I'm involved because of the cats. In my neighborhood, we have many cats. And as you know, with Wichita, we have a infestation of cats. You need to face it whether they be in your neighborhood or not. Right now, we hate to say euthanize, but let me tell you, if you live where I live, and right now we have life homes in the city, and you know where these cats are living? Not all the time people are feeding them, but who's feeding them because our city has not allowed trash service to be picked up. Our trash service, so the cats are eating out of the trash service cans, living in these homes. I'm allergic to them. I have gotten sick over cats. Cats carry diseases, whether they have a record of it or not, because right now, of course, in the Humane Society, they cannot take care of our dogs, let alone take care of our cats. There's more cats than there is dogs. And at least we have a law to protect the dogs that you say a leash law. We don't have it. This will not work. We've got to face it. We have a lot of people that love their animals. I love animals, but right now, we have an infestation of cats. We have to face it. Right now, we heard about Bel Air, 81 cats. I had a lady that had 37 cats in my block. I don't want to live like that. I pay my taxes. I do not agree with this. We've got to find another solution, and my solution might not be what it is, but we've got to do better than this. Let them loose and do it. That's not going to work. Right after the kitten is born, you know how long it takes them to have another kitten? It doesn't take very long. Think about it.
So are you for or against?
I'm against it.
Against.
I'm against the law. Because right.
What we hear from you.
Let me tell you, cat lovers don't want to hear this. When I say infestation, you've got to see what I see. Some of these cats, and feral cats is different between stray cats and owning a cat. We have not learned to have ownership and taking care of our cats. I mean ownership. They feed them and say, oh yeah, this is my little cute cat. no, taking ownership. So these feral cats are out there. And I hate to say it, it comes to the point that they do need to be, when it gets so bad, because they are dangerous, because I've had them attack me. They need to be euthanized in some form, and we need to bring this, because if not, our city will be overflowed with cats. I got to the point when I was sitting on my porch, 5 cats walking down the street like they own the block, coming around my house and spraying my house and making me sick. And then when I said I'm going to do something to that cat, you know what they said? They said, well, then we're going to put you in jail. You're going to put that cat above me? What are we doing?
Anybody else? You go to 5? I would have. You've got probably about 3 more minutes left. So
I'm sitting over there with the other.
were you? Okay. Yeah. That's fine.
My name is Tom Ebert. My address is 5820 North Legion. It's in District 6. I'm standing here as the former president of Wichita Audubon. I was until yesterday my term was up. Wichita Audubon has taken a position against this ordinance. It was drafted by a small group of activists. It was not widely considered. The guidelines suggest you involve wildlife groups in this, and that was not done. So it was a very small group of people who considered, wrote, and passed the ordinance. Even so, at the Animal Advisory Board, it passed on a 4-3 vote. The mayor's appointee of a veterinarian voted against this draft, this ordinance. TNR cannot solve the feral cat problem in the city of Wichita. It doesn't work in a city this size. It may work in someone's backyard or a single colony where these folks are feeding. But until you solve the outdoor pet problem and stop folks from dumping unwanted kittens at these sites and in our parks, you'll never reduce the population of cats. And you asked a question about how long will it take. I had a veterinarian tell me it could take 10 years through TNR before a colony is reduced to none. So that's out there. That's not hearsay. Those are scientific facts. And Bill is a scientist. These folks mean well. They just want to save the cats. But this is not the answer. Outdoor cats kill birds and other wildlife. They'll use your backyard and garden as a litter box. They spread disease because their vaccinations are not kept up to date. I have an indoor cat. My veterinarian tells me I need to revaccinate for rabies every year. It's recommended 1 to 3 years, depending upon what vaccine you use. There is an outbreak in Florida right now of 8 feral cats who have contracted rabies, and it is a serious problem down there on the beaches because it's on the beaches where people are using for summer vacation. This proposed ordinance changes the law so there's no liability for the people who are doing the feeding, which really means that the city of Wichita is responsible if a child gets scratched, or a companion animal gets rabies, or a garden disease. We need an ordinance that confines cats indoors or inside an enclosure, same as dogs and other pets. We need to protect our parks and wildlife areas in the city. We need an education program to stop folks from dumping their unwanted pets. We need a more aggressive adoption program to rehome the cats that are not truly wild. Tulsa has a leash law for all companion animals. Dodge City has a law which requires all pets to be confined in their yard or indoors. Many other cities have ordinances which treat cats and dogs the same, with mandatory license, microchipping, and spay or neuter. This draft has already been brought up in 4 other DABs and voted down every time. We ask you to do the same thing tonight.
My name is Marsha Alter, and I live at 1159 North Firefly, which is about a 1.5 miles. I have trapped and released 8 cats. These
I also have other people though that dump their cats when they're pregnant, and so I take care of those cats too, and raise the kittens and give them away. The feral cats have not caused any problems on my property at all. I also have deer, possums, and raccoons. And talk about a litter box, the possums and raccoons are more messy than my feral cats. So I just want you to think about how feral cats can become people's pets, and they are not a nuisance.
Thank you, Marcia.
Thank you.
Do your best.
Eric Miller, 952 Fall Parent. I find it humorous that we all seem to agree that, I'm perfectly not right away, that we all seem to agree that there's an issue, and it sounds like it's the way we're going about it, that we're arguing about. As was mentioned in the presentation, the program is to reduce the number of cats in neighborhoods. If you listen to the numbers, you can see that the trend in Wichita for feral cat for euthanasia is going down. The number of cats TNR is going up. You also notice there's a plateau that's occurred on the TNR. It's hovering about 1,000 for the past 3 years. The real ask right now is that we legitimize TNR so that we can get additional funding through grants to bring that number up to Mr. Langley's 3,500 female cats a year. So we can get to that point where we are making a difference. That's really what a lot of what's going on. So another thing is the cats here are abandoned animals. Okay, so if they're abandoned animals, there's generations of abandoned animals, kittens that are born in the wild, socialized. So human caretakers are not abandoning animals, they're actually taking care of the animals that are already abandoned. Today we hear about success stories. I have right here published and peer-reviewed studies from various cities. There's 5 where they have seen success. Sometimes you'll hear somebody talk about the study of 800 participants in the study. It's a statistical study. It's looking for statistics in the community. You don't have to survey the entire community to get statistics. And the statistics said that we're against euthanasia. Okay? So TNR is one way that we think we can address euthanasia. I'm an engineer. I know that data leads to solutions. So the only way to get data is to actually have some type of structure to this program to allow us to count number of TNR, count number stayed, look at the data, see what happens to the euthanasia rate, see what happens for cat complaints, fighting. The TNR male cats, they stop staying, the urine stops smelling. Okay, once you TNR community, the kittens start to go away. There's not as many there. You can talk about population studies where you have a certain area that's close to a certain number of animals. Once you get to a set that isn't breeding, then that population will start to go down. So I do think additional laws need to be put in place. We need to have mandatory spaying. Personally, I think that if you want to breed an animal, you need a license. So if you have an unaltered cat or dog, you should have a license so that you can be in that pool and say, yes, I'm a responsible breeder of cats or dogs. Okay. Otherwise, any pet that's unaltered or any pet should be altered unless you have that license. That is something I think we do that I don't think is addressed in this ordinance. So, in summary, we need to do something. We need to get something going to collect data. We need to start looking to see if this trend we're seeing now is real. The volunteer organizations are asking to legitimize this so we can get additional funding, get to that 3,500 female cats stay per year and see if it's real. Other cities have done it. I think it's worth us trying so that we can stop having problems that you're seeing in your neighborhood. We can stop having complaints. We need to do something. We're arguing about this. Everybody agrees with the problem. We need to do something.
and say that this can't work.
Still on Route 5. Mr. Chance. No, no, you, not you. Get yourself. We'll come back.
I just wanted to kind of address a couple of things, just to kind of explain something about feral cat colonies. Once you spay and neuter these cats, there's an effect called a vacuum effect. These cats protect their colonies, and once they're spayed and neutered, they don't allow other cats to come into their colony. So these colonies decrease in size by natural attrition. In other words, they die off at old age, and they don't let other cats come into their colony. They protect that territory. So the numbers that this gentleman was throwing out, where there's 180,000 cats in the city of Wichita, and we have to do all of these spades and neuters, is not something that we are trying to do. I mean, ideally, that would be great, but we're trying to pinpoint colonies where there's 8 cats in this colony. We want to go and spay and neuter those cats and get those 8 cats to stop breeding. And then we want to go to this next colony, this next neighborhood, and get those 10 cats to stop breeding, so they won't have 6, 12 kittens next spring and have another dozen cats next spring and next fall. So we can stop the cycle of breeding, and then they can defend that territory, and we stop that cycle of breeding. That's what we're trying to do. We've shown that euthanasia does not work. That's what we've done historically. That's what we've been doing all along. It's not working. We need to do something different. And that's what these people are trying to do. We need to help them. We need to legitimize, as he said, what they're trying to do and give them some help. We need to find owners that are not responsible pet owners, that are taking their kittens and dumping them on these people, like this lady over here, and causing more cats to breed. These kittens are going to grow, and they're going to breed, and then there's going to be more kittens in the fall, and then there's going to be even more kittens. It's just exponential. We've got to stop the cycle. And it starts with responsible pet owners getting their cats and dogs spayed and neutered, so we can stop the cycle of breeding. Yes.
Where is the proof that the colonies won't allow other cats?
Where
is the proof? Could you repeat the question?
He wants to know where the proof is that the colonies will die out by natural attrition. Cats, it's known, are territorial. They will guard their territory. They don't allow other animals into their territory.
Do you have any proof of that?
It's common knowledge. Do you know cats? Okay, I work with cats. I see probably 20 cats a day, to 30 to 40, 50 cats a day. I know cats. I don't want to argue with you. I've had cats all my life as well, and I work with cats exclusively. I know cats, they're territorial. They won't allow other cats into their territory. They are territorial. You can have your opinion, and I know what I know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Anybody else with last row? Okay, so you didn't open that.
Cheryl Jackson, 1458 Woodville Avenue.
You see your name again?
Yes. Cheryl Jackson. I'm actually the president of Friends of Therapy Alliance, or 501c3 nonprofit organization, volunteers. We assist caregivers in trapping in return, go out and trap, eventually litter, vaccinated babies, caretakers, they live with them, and return them back to their caregiver. We don't have to go out and look for cats. People that are out there just trying to find them in places. We don't have to. They come to us. We work off of an application process. There's already caregivers out there that exist. They're taking care of those cats. Even businesses are doing this. They're feeding them, they're sheltering them, they're watering them. And when they realize they need control of them, that's when they contact us. Once they contact us, and we would ask them to go to our website, fill out the application. Once that application is filled and submitted, it goes to our TNR coordinator and to our caregiver support coordinator. The support coordinator will contact the caregiver, verify all the information they provide, and gather additional information if needed. And then once all that information, we send it on to the coordinator, to the TNR coordinator, who will set up the tracking and then schedule the surgeries.
Typically, we do about 2 what we call large TNR weekends. We do about 50 cats max in the clinic. We use Kansas Humane Society. We do some shelter medicine program at Kansas State University. We have here the mobile unit, and then we're building a bunch of surgeries for us too. And we also have standing appointments for 5 cats every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We can do 5 cats. And when it's raining all the time and hot outside, it's a little difficult. The cats won't come out. Those people out there waiting for them to come out. Vacuum effect is a scientific issue. It's been proven once the cats are spayed and neutered, they don't allow the unaltered ones in. That's why you want to return them. You don't want a new batch of cats coming in and breeding all over again. You're just going to keep doing the same thing. It's going to continue. Topeka has a TNR ordinance. They've had this one for 9 years. I talked with their animal control person that runs all that. In the first 2 years, they had a 28% reduction of cats in the intake. They don't even answer any of the complaint calls now. They actually refer them to the Topeka Community Cat Fix, which is very similar to what we do here. They tell them that you can either rent a trap for $85, take care of it yourself, or contact the group. She bought 8 new traps 2 months ago, hasn't used them one step. Turtle cats are not socialized humans. They're not going to attack you. They're scared of you. They're going to stay hidden. Now, they might become socialized to the caregiver. The caregiver may be able to hug along, pat on, do whatever, but if a stranger shows up, they're going to hide. You're not going to see them. You may not even know who the cats are there. This is working. TNR is working on an individual basis. We've been doing this since 2005. We really ramped it up once K-State got on board and started doing surgeries for us. That's when we got in the 900s. We're doing quite a few cats. So it does work on an individual basis. We would like to see it go citywide. We want more caregivers to do this themselves. Like the one gal did, which I'm impressed with. Very good. We get a lot of people like this now, and they just want us to deal with it, pick them up. Okay. I'm good. Any questions? Friends of Feral Felines. It was started by Ray Hunt and Central East Chief.
Did you say feral cats do not attack?
No, they're afraid of humans. They're unsocialized humans.
That when they come together as a group, they won't attack.
We've been around.
Okay. Someone's going to be against the wall.
Yeah, watch through the cord. Yeah, watch that cord. I almost fell over it going out.
I'm Charlotte Beaver, I live 220 North Byron Road.
What's your first name?
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Thank you.
We plant her yard for the birds, we feed the birds, we water the birds. And then we have, I'm sorry.
There you go. There you go.
We have a 6-foot picket fence around the yard that we don't have dogs going in and out, but we have dogs. We're very interested in the birds that our natives live in. And I know that one free roaming neighbor cat can wipe out the nest of fledgling plays in just a few moments. One cat is a big problem for us. I would like to see some kind of protection for us and people like us who want one cat in the yard. In the first place, cats are not natives. They're not natives, and birds are not equipped to defend against that. And the next thing that worries me is that so much people here are taking very good care of cats, feral cats, but there are a lot of people that treat cats like throwaway pets. And I think maybe
information could help us. So, we'll remember that, and not leave us just hanging out in space with no protections. Thank you.
Joe,
You can still-
Yeah.
okay. We get a raise that group. We want to increase the ball.
I'm Jim Barnett, 1728 West Nottingham Court. I approach this as from a biological standpoint. And one of the things that we in biology deal with is carrying capacity of an area for an animal. These are limited principally by food, water, and shelter. When you provide food, water, and shelter to feral cats or any other animal, you increase the carrying capacity for those animals. I think among those of us who approach this from a biological standpoint, we see a pretty good likelihood that TNR has the potential for increasing the population of cats, feral cats, rather than decreasing. This has been seen in a number of places. And my understanding is the city of Miami is dealing with that right now. The other thing that I think is unusual is the claim that neutered cats protect their territories. And the fact is that, as far as I understand it, a neutered cat reduces the territorial imperative and actually allows more cats in rather than fewer. So, in general, I don't think that TNR is an effective program. I'd very much like to see a mandatory licensing and a spay-neuter program so that there isn't new recruitment of feral cats. Until you control the recruitment of feral cats, you will never get a handle on the feral cat situation. Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
Next. Richard Booth, 3907 Swenson Street, in Grandview Heights, Gateway to the South. I'm against this TNR proposal, not necessarily against TNR. It's very unfortunate that TNR has been not implemented properly over the years. It's been done here and there in bits and pieces, but there's only one place that has shown a actual reduction in cats through natural means, and that was in Newburyport, Massachusetts, which was a very small, it was concentrated around the dogs. About a mile square, it took 20 years to get to 20 cats. The 50% reduction is a reduction in cats going into the shelter, not in the general population. So we need to be clear about that because that's a fact that's often twisted. Counting that as a success is like closing up a battered women's shelter on a Friday night, and then Monday morning saying, look, we had no emissions, the problem's solved. It's just, it's twisting and it's unethical, and ultimately it's bad for cats in general. The reason why I'm against this proposal is because this proposal takes away the legal rights of a homeowner to sue for damages, because it takes away the ownership of the cat, makes it a community cat, and then frees the caretaker from any legal responsibility for that animal's damages. And it's come up before, people said, well, you know, we have cats that got in our cars and scratch them up, what do we do? And the response from the folks, people are, use oregano oil around your car, put it around your car before you go anything. And the cats don't like it, so they won't get it. I mean, it's laughable. The proposal does nothing about spay and neuter. It does nothing about containing the ability of cats to wander either 24/7 or during Mescus. There's over 100 cities that were looked at by the TNR subcommittee. And all of these additional measures were ignored. Many cities had leash laws. Many of them had said that you couldn't run during estrus. Some of them had a requirement for patios, for containment. These were all ignored. Ultimately, it's cat over people. And that's what we see when we dig into the arguments that were being made, and we look at the history of the Animal Control Advisory Board. You read the minutes, you read the agendas, you can see the people that got on and started talking about introducing measures and languages into law before they were even talking about it. The second minutes, someone from the cat hospital said, well, I think we should introduce a community cat. Like before any discussion happened. This whole process has been an undermine of the democratic structure of an advisory board, where citizens are allowed to come before the advisory board, express their opinions, and take it serious. That did not happen. And this proposal should be, you should say no. We will revisit it. There are other measures that we need to have. Oversight, accountability, and transparency. Friends of feral felines are not licensed, they're not inspected. That's the way it was back in 1965 in this country when dogs were being yanked out of their yards and being sold to labs. And then people said, hey, enough of this. And so they had the Animal Welfare Act of 1966. And these people started being evicted. We should not allow them to run around with absolutely no oversight. Wichita Animal Shelters has a moral and legal obligation right now to protect citizens from this kind of infestation. And so they want to wash their hands of it, saying that it's much too expensive. And we've shown that the data that they have collected on it is absolutely false. 6 days is the average stay for a cat. 6 days. Not 12. And the accounting that was done on this $250,000 or whatever it is to housing is questionable. Wichita wants transparency. They have to do better to be transparent, to cut through these arguments that are being made about what's really happening in our city. And unfortunately, that hasn't happened with this board. A yes to this rewards that behavior, and it doesn't do anything to address our problems. So I ask you to say no to this, and we continue to work on it. Okay. Thank you. Anyone else on the wall? Notes? And we'll go. Yeah, chairs, no. Okay. Nobody, okay. We'll go to the board.
Maybe I have a couple of questions for Stephanie. Okay. Stephanie.
Yeah.
So, I know this is still a draft ordinance that's being brought to the council. We've had a workshop. We brought it to, I think we're the last district advisory board.
I have one more.
One more.
Okay. I have one, sorry.
So it's had at least one workshop. This is the fifth out of 6 district advisory board meetings. How many meetings did the Animal Control Advisory Board have from the beginning of this process to recent?
So it originally started on our agenda on April 2018 after it was brought up in January. So in January, it was brought up from the committee 2018, or April 2018, it went on the agenda for the draft ordinance, and then we only meet quarterly currently, and so then we had special meetings, so we had a total of 6 meetings that we only talked about tonight. So there was plenty of time for input and community interaction and any type of additions, subtractions for those who heard the annual supervision.
And I know I've gotten dozens of emails on both sides of it.
Absolutely,
So, it has been open meetings and the opportunity for people to engage.
I mean, we were there, I mean, our meetings are at 4 o'clock, and there were multiple times that we did not do this facility until 6:30.
And this is still in draft, it still has to come back before the council
Yeah, so-
for any final action.
And actually, we'll pass to those, so with the WPD, WPD has already reviewed it, they're having an internal committee that is meeting on it currently, and then once it comes out of the gaps, then it will be presented after, there's going to be back to city council.
Anyone else have a question for Stephanie?
I have a question. So is it true so that
the last guy that just spoke, he said that if the city adopts this, that it takes the responsibility off the cat owner. Is that true?
So there's no owner of the cat or the cat colony, there's a caregiver that is responsible still for feeding and watering and doing all the maintenance items for that particular colony.
But I think but are they also talking about people who have cats that don't take care of them and let them roam through the neighborhood? Are they not talking about those cats also? I mean, that's kind of the impression I'm getting. I don't, maybe I'm misunderstanding.
So there's a difference between cat and community cat. So we're specifically talking about the community cats. So these are the ones that are identified in the colony. Those are the people that are taking care of those animals. If and when that situation were to arise where they would do damage to property, although the owner, or not the owner, but the caregiver of the colony would not be prosecuted per se, they would still have to follow anything under nuisance law. So if these cats were ever becoming a nuisance, they would get most likely warned at the beginning, these cats are under control, animal control gets called out again, they would go out and visit the property, they would say, it's a fix-it situation, and then after they haven't done that, then animal services can actually compensate those cats and humans. So there's still repercussions if they're continuing to be a nuisance on the property.
The liability is not.
It does not fall under the caregiver. There's no personal liability, but the animal can be taken away from them and euthanized.
To follow up and confirm, in section 2, where it says punishment, that would be the steps. Then the final action would be removal of the cats from the caregiver.
Right.
And that would be removal of all cats from the caregiver.
Yes.
Unless
they can determine exactly which cat is covered for nuisance.
Sure, but
that would be really hard.
But the ordinance says that a caregiver could have own cats and be a caregiver as well. So would that take all cats regardless of whether they are owned or being cared?
If it's cats that are the community cats that are outside that they're being caregivers of, and they have indoor cats that don't ever go outside, which a lot of people do have indoor cats, they would just be focusing on the ones that are a nuisance and, whatever they're doing. And that is up to animal services. So they get called out multiple times to our residents. They don't want to continue going out there and dealing with that. They want to eliminate the problem. And they can do that, and it's a nuisance. And I think it's 6.04.032, 042. I have it for you.
In the ordinance, it talks about punishment in accordance with 6.04.190.
That would be it. Sorry, I can't keep all the numbers in my head.
I have some additional questions as well.
Yeah, please go ahead.
One of the things that's been brought up is the rabies vaccinations and whether that's necessary in all those countries. What's the average lifespan of a feral cat?
So let me just tell you, an average house cat, they can live 20 plus years. Those are animals that are seeing a vet regularly. They're being vaccinated regularly. They're also not going to be exposed to cars driving down the road that are going to hit them and potentially kill them and things like that. So house cats can live 20 years maybe. It's pretty common that community cats don't even live a quarter of that long, so it's between 8 years.
And repeat the questions, please repeat the questions to the Facebook audience.
Sure, he asked the life expectancy of a community cat.
And when would this ordinance go into effect? I mean, if it's passed, is it just, would it go into effect right away?
We have zero control of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, that might be a question for Councilman Farrell.
I don't even think it's.
It's like a 2-week lead time.
Yeah, I mean, typically on an ordinance, we'll have a second reading, and it's usually the following week or the next council meeting. I don't know that this has a specific date that it would be in force. Let's figure that out.
Right. And then finally, and again, this might be a better question for Councilman Fry, is there a review process for ordinances? Because I know one of the concerns that keeps coming up is, well, this doesn't go far enough, or this isn't the right method. So to me, as I look at what we as DAB members are looking at, if we pass it or we don't, then potentially go back to the drawing board. So is there a review process to say, if we were to pass this and go to council, go into effect, that in 2 years we would say, yes, this was successful, let's keep doing it, or no, this did not go far enough?
I will tell you that Oklahoma City, when they did this 2 years ago, they gave it a 1-year time to do an original TNR policy. And then at the end of like 11 months, they evaluated and it was successful and they said, we're doing this again. And so they've done it on a year review process. It's also why the Wichita Animal Services Advisory Board was set up. So if we've got things going on that are pertaining to animals in the community, public can bring those to us, and then those also go to council as well. So they're seeing our agendas, and they're able to come and speak to us. I mean, Brian and I converse a lot about different things that are going on in different districts as well.
Typically with ordinances, we do have a review process at the end of the year just to see how things are progressing. Are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? Just like I talked earlier about the electric scooters, that pilot program. Something like this, if enacted, could have that reporting requirements that at the end of a year or 2 years, we have the results, we see what kind of progress it's making. We typically do that.
Okay, and what are the ways that we will measure success? I mean, so I'm encouraged to hear that there will be a review process in a year. So then what would be the ways that we would measure this successful or not working?
Right. So contrary to what you may have heard earlier tonight, the euthanasia rate in the shelter is the euthanasia rate in the shelter. Whether that be owned cats, community cats, cats that were thrown out of the moving car going down 135, they all end up at the same place. So knowing that that euthanasia rate is going down is a pretty good success rate of what's really happening in the community, because that keeps us from spending taxpayer dollars, where any TNR program that we're going to talk about or enact from this ordinance, that's not funds that are coming from Wichita, taxpayers. Those are coming from grants and private organizations. So.
Thank you for taking my question.
Sure. And just a couple more things to clarify that you have asked before. The thing about Friends of Being Lions not being licensed and inspected, they don't keep animals, so they're not going to be licensed like a regular rescue. So if you're a part of a rescue, we are continually licensed. We get licensed every year. We get surprise inspections, yes, but we're also housing animals and making sure that those animals are getting proper care. The numbers that I talked about earlier with euthanasia came directly from Wichita Animal Services, which is Lieutenant Sigmund there, who was in charge of that bureau, and then the Friends of Felines came directly from Cheryl Taskin. And also, TNR is already happening in our community. This is just an opportunity to be an assistance to them so we can TNR more cats, so we can reduce the population. And then the last thing I will tell you, yes, I have visited all of the district advisory boards except for one now. Yes, we have 3 that voted no. All 3 of those boards gave recommendations back to the Animal Services Advisory Board that will also go to our board and to council. So it wasn't just a firm no, get out of here. They gave us specifications of things that they thought would be helpful for this ordinance. And then also we had one that was a split decision that also came with recommendations as well. So you can kind of tell by the numbers that people want to do something, but no one really knows what to do what. So it's an opportunity for us to kind of pay for future ordinance.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
So I did see in the proposed ordinance that if an animal, or that there's the option that an animal that is trapped in will not have to be returned to the same area if there is a nuisance or something like that.
Correct.
What would the process for the average citizen say they don't want to cat back in their neighborhood?
So it's the property owner. So if Wichita Animal Services comes to my property and picks up 3 cats and I say, don't bring them back, I do not want them, they're not coming back. But I'm the one that's turning them in. If it's someone down the street that's turning in, they're the ones that are saying, I don't want them back. So they're not going to be released on their property. Does that kind of?
Well, I know that it's not taking on money from property, but I saw somebody was saying they don't want them back.
If there's active nuisance going on in an area, and I'm talking like egregious nuisance, I'm talking multiple damage complaints, multiple issues, animal services out there constantly, Wichita Police Department's out there constantly. There are, issues between homeowners. Those cats aren't going back. They're going to go somewhere else. And a lot of times when something like that happens, we're able to do a little bit of rehabilitation with some of those animals and get them somewhere else that's going to be safe, because we never want to take an animal back to a situation that's not safe and not safe for the homeowners.
So the way the ordinance reads, then
to answer your question, is the standard by which to judge whether the community at Halloween is a public nuisance is that of a reasonable person. So there's some issues with it. So I got one question. So it says Wichita Animal Services must approve the location of any new impact colony.
Right.
What's the criteria of which anyone can create a colony?
So he asked what the criteria is for a colony. Currently, we have no registration policy for any colonies. So we have colonies going on all over the city. We have no we don't know where any of them are located. Well, Cheryl does, because she's TNR most of them. But the best thing about this ordinance is the fact that we're gonna be right there by them, because they're gonna have to register. We don't have those parameters set yet, because we have to get through this portion yet. But it would look, and I'll tell you what we talked about, they would have to register the colony within a certain time frame. They have to identify how many cats are in the colony, whether or not they're spayed or neutered, or microchipped, vaccinated, anything. So they're gonna have to identify that, and that way, if there's a nuisance complaint that comes in, Wichita Animal Services would say, the colony right down the road, we need to check that. So they know immediately going out to the property that that's what's gonna happen. Now, I will tell you, there's a lot of colony owners or colony caregivers that don't want people to know that they're caring for cats, right? So this is a way to bring them into compliance and identify where they are. Where otherwise, we have no idea where they are.
Do you have questions? Do I have questions? Ready for a vote? Motion. 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 Motion.
You want to add any amendments for the
We're actually, give that time from 1 year. Period.
You said the registration is currently not in the U.S. though?
It's currently not written into the ordinance because we still have to work out some of those specifics, and we will have to obviously to make sure that we're doing, we're not violating anyone's rights as a property.
I'm sorry, I do have one question. So who, would it be your board, or who would actually make an ordinance? There's some people that have said, why don't we have mandatory spay and neutering in Wichita? So how does that come about? Who would propose that? And why isn't that part of your recommendation?
You know what, I would absolutely 100% be behind having mandatory standard. Because otherwise, we're going to continue having the same problems that we're having in the shelter now. That would be my personal preference, but you also have hobby breeders out there that are in Sedgwick County that are still breeding. They already are having to get a license to do so. But we also have currently in the city of Wichita, we have mandatory standard on vehicles and registration. So we have one classification, we just don't have all currently.
So in answer your question, it would start with the animal advisory board and work its way just like this. Community input, dialogue, engagement, going through meetings, strategies, having opportunity for people to weigh in and so forth. Sure.
You have lots of ordinance that people don't follow anyway. This just helps. Something that will give us a little information, but if you're going out and investigating something, it's something that leads us to somewhere that identifies this, that identifies that, and leads us somewhere. We have all sorts, you're not supposed to have more than 3 dollars, you're supposed to have a permit for that, and all sorts of things that people don't follow. The people that are doing it right and want to do something to help are going to register, they're going to have that database, and then that's helpful to us when you're going to investigate.
And Heather's our person, she's our animal investigator, so she's the one that is seeing a lot of these cases come out.
And when they're just starving, and when they're not being cared for, and so that's where, some of those cases can be compelled. I have a gal that heard all the time, and it's just, they need to be altered in space. We can go in and have somebody get that done, that would eliminate a lot of problems for that one block. 1 minute, 1 group at a time, I call that spay or everything.
So the reduction that we would recommend is
It's his motion. So his motion, yeah, that's what he wants to add. Absolutely.
And also adding other things like, I don't know, dogs, why aren't cats treated like dogs? They're licensed in the state. Why
I
are
have a
we
question.
cats?
Have you ever tried to reach a cat? It's extreme, let me tell you.
No, I don't.
I'm just giving you an example, like, it's not like something that you do every day.
I can understand your desire for that, but I think at this point, I think it's something, this ordinance is specifically that it makes you, the cats be developed separate, separate issue.
I will absolutely do that, I love to hear that. So, I think it's great.
Something that puts a little more restrictions,
Right.
registration, more, something more tangible besides just saying yes. Because I think this program's awesome, it's great, then it's happening, like, we're maybe to step it up a little bit further. Okay, I don't even know what that is, because this is one field of expertise, something.
This also is not, you know, expertise either. So, I've had to learn.
I just say, yeah, I'm gonna back up and do this right. So we have a motion on the floor to pass the ordinance with a couple of minutes about a year. We do the advisory boards, recommendations. Now we need a second.
And that is,
Wait, need a second.
that's what I was.
Need a second?
All I wanted to do was second. I said, there's a motion on the table, it needs a second.
Now we have further discussion, if there's any further discussion. So, any further discussion on this? If not, we'll go to the vote.
Air just came on, yeah.
What's that?
Are you including them?
You make a motion? Yes. Include the, right. Right.
The recommendations for the committee to take into consideration.
Correct. Correct. So everybody's clear on the motion, the recommendations? So we'll go to the vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign? Aye. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. 4 noes.
Yes. So that is it. The recommendation. So.
This is here.
That's just a way. Sorry.
With that, the motion carries. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I made you guys say it going out here.
That's not bad. Okay, any other final words on these board members? If not, motion to adjourn.
Somebody's.
We are adjourned.